to CREED News Hour, where our cryptid and paranormal stories come directly from you, our viewers. Settle in as we take you to a personal account of the things that go bump in the night.
Help me. I'm finally ready to tell the story of the most nightmare place I've ever stayed in my entire life. This was the most horrific, disgusting, moldy, filthy place I've ever been. I was on a road trip with my mom. It was super last minute, and we did not make any sleeping reservations for the entire trip. We were just doing it like night by night. But there was one night where everywhere was so booked up. Even the Motel 6 was $350. So we ended up using this app called Hip Camp. It's kind of like Airbnb, but it's for camping. People can rent out like space on their farm or on their property, and you can set up camp, but sometimes they have like cabins or glamping. So we find this hip camp. It was kind of nearby. It had 100% good reviews. There were only like 10 reviews though. It was basically on an old horse camp, like a summer sleepaway camp. So I guess the camp wasn't going on anymore, but they were renting out the bunks, like the cabins for people to stay in. I've gone to summer camp many years. My mom's worked at a summer camp. We thought it would be fun. So we book it. Now after booking it, my mom was kind of messaging back and forth the host. The host said like, oh, well, there's a lot of different mattresses. You'll have to test which one you like. My mom said, are there clean sheets on it? And she said, I'll put one on. The only instructions we got were that it was like behind the house next to like a red dumpster. We get there at like 10 o'clock. It was pitch black. We could not see anything, and we couldn't figure out like where we were supposed to go. It was a big house and then a driveway, and it just went into the woods, like pitch black, literally in the woods. And it was so narrow that we didn't know if we could get the car through. I get out with my flashlight and I start walking up the road to see what's there, and it is creepy. I keep walking, and then I see two bunks. Look at that fucking red glow. Look at the red glow. That's a real. That's where we're supposed to sleep.
Oh, this is so fucking creepy. Absolutely not.
Do you see the cabin?
Absolutely fuck. So you can take us up to the room? Oh god.
Oh yeah, we heard a guy screaming like in the woods too.
Yeah. No. Ew, it smells like piss. Look at the dust. You know what? What is that? Ew. What?
The fact that this is real.
That's shit. Emily. Look. It's so disgusting and scary.
Look at the dirt. Needless to say, we ended up sleeping in the car. The next morning, I woke up and took some videos of the other cabin. By the way, I think this was the bunk we were supposed to sleep in, because there was a red, clean sheet on the top mattress of the pile of like 10 mattresses. See that clean sheet on top? On the mold? Look at this. Decaying blanket. The smell, guys. I can't tell you. Moldy, smelly couch. So in the morning, we get a text from the woman that's like, so here's how you're going to get to the site. Why did she not text us the night that we were staying there? Like, we already figured it out. My mom was pissed. So we go to drive. There's like a house where the host lives on like the horse camp. We drive down to the house and stop because she wanted to go talk to the host. There's a little boy that is sitting on the porch playing with a toy. Creepy. And he's like, yeah, playing with a toy. He just looks at us and we look at him. And I said, excuse me, is your mom so-and-so? Like Jane? And he's like, no, my mom's Betty. And I was like, oh, well, is Jane home? And he's like, yeah, she's home. I'll go get her. So he runs inside, comes out about a minute later and says, she's not home. Really? You just said she was. But what are we going to do? It's a little boy. So we said, okay. And we left. I left the longest review on this place. Like, no pictures, no reviews show like the pile of like pubic hair. Like, what? Like the mold, the filth, like what? Next night we stayed in a place that actually had a clean shower. and I cried tears of joy. If you're in upstate New York, do not stay at that horse camp. Don't do it.
I'm 22 now, so it's not that long ago. While in college, I was a babysitter during the week for a family, and sometimes I would nanny for this other wealthier family on the weekends. They would go away often on the weekends and leave their 2 kids, so I would stay at the house for the weekend with the kids. They had a whole dedicated guest bedroom just for me, and the family was super nice, so it was honestly great while it lasted. It happened in the fall. The leaves were all falling, and it was chilly outside. I had gotten to the house Friday, and Friday night went completely fine. I just played with the 2 kids, who I'll nickname James and Jessica. James was 7, Jessica was 5. They were both cute and well-behaved. Their bedtimes were 7:30 for Jessica and 8:30 for James. During the day, I'd play with each of them with their toys. The family had 2 dedicated rooms for their toys, one for Jess, one for James. Jessica loved her dolls and doll houses. I spent a lot of time playing with her. James loved playing his video games, so I'd watch him play. These kids really had a thing, and the house was gorgeous. It was a giant property with a big pond in the middle. It had a separate 3-car garage, and then a pool with a pool house across the pond, which was also a bar and rec room, with a pool table and darts, arcade games, and a giant TV and multiple sofas. This family was so off and over the top that they even had an intercom that connected from the pool house to the actual house, so that if you press a button on the wall in either place, it would ring and then you could talk through it. The pool house also had a giant window that overlooked the pond and had a view of the house. So after the kids went to bed, I was free to do as I pleased for the night. It was great. I wasn't supposed to have friends over, though. That was a rule I respected. I would just FaceTime my friends and watch movies in the pool house to pass the time. It was not a bad place to have free time in, I'll tell you that. I started getting hungry, so I walked back across the property to the house, entered the code to let myself in, and went to the kitchen. They had so many snacks and food that I was allowed to help myself to. I grabbed a frozen snack from the freezer and threw it in the microwave. When I was done, I went back across the property to the pool house. I liked hanging out in there more because I could be louder on the phone and have the TV as loud as I want without waking the kids. I was on the couch eating, watching the movie White Chicks, while texting a bunch of my friends. I was just in the middle of telling my friends how great of a gig this was, when the intercom beeper gave me a heart attack. I went to go press the answer button, and I heard Jessica's voice on the other end, saying she's scared because she keeps hearing noises. Usually she'd sleep through the night, so I'd have to go tuck her back in. I set my food down and ran back across the yard to the house. I entered through the door with the code lock again and went to Jess's room. She must have ran straight back to her bed after we got off the intercom, because she was already back in her bed all scared. I went to tickle her and tuck her in, just so she wouldn't be scared anymore. When she felt better, I left her room, shut the door, and walked down the hall back to the kitchen to grab some wine. As I was looking for a wine opener, I heard the ever so lightest crack in the wood floor from another room. I froze and looked in that direction, instinctively waiting for a second sound. I didn't want to start freaking myself out now. I didn't want Jessica saying she's hearing noises to get in my head. I was thinking it was a regular house settling noise. I admit I was a little creeped out now, but I left the lights and TV on in the pool house, so I had to go back. I went outside, locked the door with the code, and ran across to the pool house. I sat back down on the couch and resumed eating the rest of my food. I didn't end up bringing the wine. I still had White Chicks on, though I was mostly just getting distracted on my phone. And that damn intercom went off again, making me jump in my seat. I hurried to answer it, and when I did, there was silence on the other end. "Jessica," I said into the mic. I thought for sure I heard someone breathing, but that's all I could hear. I said both Jessica and James' names at least 3 times each. Now I was actually starting to become terrified. I called my friend Kelsey and told her I want her to come here because I'm actually getting really scared. I told her that the little girl I'm watching said that she was hearing noises, and then I heard a noise, and now someone pressed the intercom button but didn't say anything. I felt like it was not something one of the kids would do. I was still on the phone with Kelsey, who was telling me to stop being paranoid, but she also sounded drunk. I was looking out the window to the house the whole time I was on the phone with her. The hallway lights turned on. I told Kelsey this, and any ounce of possibility that it was one of the kids disappeared when a large figure stepped into.
Welcome back to CREED News Hour, where our cryptid and paranormal stories come directly from you, our viewers. Settle in as we take you to a personal account of the things that go bump in the night.